Hello friends, welcome to Symbaroum. This is a dark fantasy TTRPG system and setting created by Free League Publishing. I am joined here with my friends Vertigo Cross and Kory. And
Hi.
yeah. And Obdurant the Dungeon Master, please take it away.
A day has passed since the last session. Henri guided Dati back to meet with Araga, then promptly left them to their own devices for the evening. So the next morning has begun. You can take a point if you want to recover stats and kind of give a little summary of how your character's doing.
Okay. Can I recover a point?
Nope.
It would be very useful.
No, don't recover points, then we probably have to go back and kill you.
Surprise was abomination.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see. We're gonna roll first. Okay. Dati is still smoking. That day that passed. And probably was very untalkative the whole night, and as the morning comes, she's still untalkative, but she does force upon Araga a small bag that is stuffed full of about 3 days worth of dream mist.
What is this for?
Just, he died getting me here, and he didn't like it. Keep it away from me.
Alright. And Araga will put it in her bag, kind of cocking a brow at her. There's a look of concern on Arga's face.
And then Dati spends the morning just trying to meditate and recover.
I like how Jacob shows up right after awful things happen. Araga looks a bit banged up. She's got a few fresh wounds, but they appear to be quite bandaged and well taken care of. She seems a bit winded, a bit disheveled, but for the most part, she's in fighting form. And, what is Henri doing?
She left.
She left? Oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah, she's out of the scene right now.
Did you at least enjoy the view as she left?
Oh, absolutely.
You hate to see her go, but you love to watch her walk away?
Absolutely. And, like, once Henri's, like, out of the room, Araga just kind of points over her shoulder towards Henri while she looks at Dati.
Kevin, I have a serious question about how you plan your sessions.
Yeah.
Do you allot a certain amount of time for this shit?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then Araga changes her mind and she just eats her rations and takes a nap. I'm done.
Feeling extremely judged.
I mean, Dati is absolutely judging any passes made at elves more than she would normal passes made at anyone else inside species lines. But she probably, like, you get the sense that she's judging that too. She's just not looking at you while judging you over it.
Right.
And yeah, Dati is very content for the morning and whatever amount of time is required for Henri to return with the head. Or did she? No, she left the head. Yeah. We've got the head. Did she say she'd be back?
She didn't say anything, actually. She
Okay.
just left.
Do we know where we're supposed to go?
No.
Oh, well, then we're waiting.
Okay. So, around noon, midday, or really just a couple hours later, you'd think, because you don't have much of a sense of time in underground. Eleanor will return. If anyone is in the cafeteria area, she'll just kind of nod to them. I'm assuming that's just Dati, since Arga is asleep. Unless she's somewhere else.
Yes. Sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah, so Eleanor will kind of beckon Dati and then look around, and when she sees that Arga isn't there, she will search for Arga and then kind of lightly nudge her awake with a boot.
This is her favorite way to wake up, Kevin.
Arga kind of wakes with a grumble, and then when she wipes the sleep from her eyes and the haze lifts and she sees Owanri, she says, I was just dreaming about you.
Eleanor is wearing a mask, so her expression is hard to make out, but she stares down at Arga for the span of a few seconds before saying, well, get up and come join Dati, before turning away herself and moving back into the main room.
Arga lays there and watches her go, and then gets up and then comes down.
Dati goes with once Arga is up.
Okay. So near the entrance of the little fort camp area, she'll turn to consider the pair of you. And she puts her hands on her hips, thinks for a few seconds, and then asks, you have the head?
Arga looks up the stairs and then begins going up the stairs.
The
Well,
stairs that lead out.
after a few
No.
steps, Dati, wait.
Wait,
not the stairs,
wherever,
the
wherever
stairs.
wherever she put the head down.
There's a single floor, and then there's the stairs to the rest of Davokar.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
Arga
the only
goes...
staircase is the staircase that leads up to the...
Okay, well, Arga plays fetch and gets the head for her hot elf girlfriend.
Look, people just don't want Araga to go back up the stairs.
Yeah, that was a real panic moment.
Yeah, she wasn't gonna make it 2 steps through.
Yeah, no.
You're gonna make
2
it.
people were gonna freaking... Oh, dear. Okay, so Eleanor waits until Arga returns carrying the bag, carrying the head of the Mana Gale. At which point she'll nod and glance between the two of them before saying, I'll tell you how to get to Ost now. It's about 2 days' journey to the east from here. And there are a few simple signs that you can follow to ensure that you're on the path. Dati, you're familiar with our waypoints and markers, and once you're near, she kind of opens up her cloak to produce a small leather pouch, and she pulls the string to open the pouch before handing it off to Dati. Within, you'll be able to see that there are basically just 2 things within. One is something that looks like maybe the size of a finger or so, but it's kind of shaped like an oval, and it's wrapped in a little piece of cloth. The other is a very small jar with what appear to be fireflies inside of it.
Ooh.
Are they moving?
They are, yeah. They appear to be alive. They aren't flying about right now. They're just kind of crawling around in the inside.
Okay, the finger-sized thing You described the size, but I don't think you described what it was, unless I missed it completely.
Oh well, it's wrapped in like a small
Okay.
sheet of like
Okay.
cloth or something.
You gotta open it for the surprise, Kory. It could be anything. It could even be a finger.
It could be, but Dati doesn't have a curious bone in her body when it comes to things that elves are giving her.
So as she looks down into the pouch, Henri will explain. Use the fireflies when you get to the end of the journey. If you open the jar, they will point the way to Ost's. She kind of seems to pause in search for a word before eventually settling on a lair. As for the waystone, if you unwrap that cloth and hold on to it as you venture through the mist from here, it should guide your way. If it begins heating up, you've taken a wrong turn, and you should return back to the way you came and try to follow another route.
Okay. Dottie will nod at that and take the waystone out and put the pouch and jar away in her pack.
Okay, sounds good. And she'll nod before kind of stepping back and gesturing up the steps. But as she does, she says, remember, regardless of what Ost says, your only mission is to find an avenue to the Solemn King and clear the path. You do not need to fight him, and you should not, because I have no illusions that you would survive such an encounter.
Does she look at Araga when she says this?
No, she's just
Okay.
Wow.
only looking at both of you. And at that point, she just kind of nods and says, I'll be arranging the follow-up for whatever you accomplish. It might be possible that we're able to send a little help to try and keep you alive for longer. Good luck.
Wait,
And
wait,
she'll-
wait.
Yeah.
She starts moving for the stairs. Arga opens her backpack and pulls out some bandages.
This is how this all started.
Please, wait. Hello, Henri. Before you go, can you take one last look at my wounds?
Sorry, has she seemed in any way injured?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
that's
just
fine.
opening her sheet to see if she had any wounds.
Oh my god. Okay, listen.
Okay.
I know
She
I'm
had a
playing
one
like
hit point
kind of a
before the whole
thirsty
journey.
character, but like out of character, I wouldn't like force that narrative like super hardcore. Well, okay, that is what I
You wouldn't,
No.
huh?
Okay, I'm just
unnecessarily
saying.
I wouldn't, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
I'm
trying
just-
to bone her. I mean, what?
All right, you heard it here,
So,
Kevin.
Henri does stop partway up the stairs, perhaps remembering everything that happened over the past several days.
Yeah, all of the
The
wounds
last
I've
time she
taken, all of
ignored
the
Arga.
spiders that I've killed.
And she'll turn back to to stare at Arga and the bandage that she's holding in her hand. And after a moment, you can hear a terse little sigh kind of come from under the mask, and she steps back down and just waves to the tables nearby.
Ooh. Cool. Yeah. Arga gets. Okay, she probably doesn't get totally naked. Arga, yeah. She requires medical assistance. Please assist.
Yeah, okay. So once Arga is settled, Henri will take the bandages and will pretty solidly apply them.
Now, wait.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't she have to pass the test?
Do you have to pass a test too?
For Medicus? Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oops. Well, we'll find out if she does or not. I need to pull her stab up.
As Arga is receiving medical treatment, she'll say, I will miss your bedside manner. Arga totally stumbles on her words and starts blushing.
Henri glances up to kind of study Arga in silence as she works, and then looks back down to her wounds. And
Cuts her open. Failing Medicus roll.
cunning test.
Please.
And the cunning is. Yep. She successfully bandages Henri successfully bandages Arga. The last of her wounds seem to be very solidly cared for. And finally, at length, she'll kind of respond as she takes a step back, saying, "Just do your best not to die, Arga." And she'll turn away, give a pretty straightforward nod to Dati, and bound up the stairs. And
Dottie will remark in Elvish after the elf, if you don't end up coming across us again, and another elf returns, it was good working with you.
she pauses at the top of the stairs, just a step or two away from the kind of misty portal. She'll look back to Dati before nodding and agreeing in Elvish. You're a fine human, Dati. I hope you survive. And she'll just step off.
Good hunting.
Ooh, Daddy's building up those romance points with the elf.
Grrr!
No, Dottie was saying, if you send someone else, I'm not going to feel offended. That's what Dottie was saying.
So the two of you are left in the sort of mess hall of this outpost.
Let's go.
Arga will go about collecting her belongings, strapping her armor back into place, and she will say, do we need to restock on supplies before we leave?
We have more than ever and less of a drain on them than ever. Let's go.
All right. And Arga will fall into place behind Dati.
Dottie will fish out the little waystone, was it?
It is, yes. It looks to be about the size of like
A
one of those
finger?
little candy Easter eggs once it's unwrapped.
No.
And it's
Dottie
kind of
will
Go ahead.
hold it in her hand, hand to waystone, and Dottie's going to reach out to take Araga's hand.
Arga will cock a brow at you and say,
I'm not going to lose you.
okay. Arga bites back whatever she was about to say, and she just nods. All right.
+1 romance point.
you step into the darkness, and this stone has very narrow gold veins kind of webbing through it. As you step into the kind of misty plane that you have become somewhat accustomed with at this point, you're struck by that same feeling of disassociation, where everything is done at a distance as you begin to travel through, and the darkness weighs down upon you. But the small little egg-shaped stone kind of stays just as bright as it had earlier, and there's a very faint light from the gold strands that have webbed their way through it. What direction do you go once you're kind of in this plane? Is it just forward?
Well, we went like forward and to the right, and that took us east.
Oh, it's probably
So?
important to mention that I'm holding the head.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Arga just yeets it down the tunnel.
God.
Went through all
yeah,
that and just
so-
left it on the table. Go ahead.
Yeah, so forward and to the right, because that took us east, and we want to go east, so, you know.
Yeah, so that appears to work. You don't have any sharp pains or whatever the signs from this are going to be. Instead, as you walk forward and you walk to the right, everything around you seems very similar. It might get a little darker, but you still have this faint gray floor and just pitch darkness. At times you hear what might be a rustle to the left and to the right, but it never seems to resolve, and it's not constant enough to pursue. After about 5 minutes or so, in terms of how it feels, in any case, you do feel a kind of abrupt stab of heat up your arm from your palm where you're holding the stone, all the way up your forearm and kind of diffusing from there.
Dati will pause and try a little bit back, a few steps back, and then just forward.
Okay. It takes only one step before this time that same sensation returns.
Now we get to play hot and cold all the way through Davokar.
You're hot and you're cold. Yes.
Red light.
That's a copyright strike.
What is it?
Going forward and to the right, we kind of reached a point where, and then taking a step back, we got it again.
Upon trying to go just straight forward, yes.
Oh,
from there.
okay.
Do we need to diverge?
Dati will kind of like point out in front of her, like gesturing kind of like a vague, this is where the waystone. She'll use her other hand. She'll kind of keep that, and she'll use her other hand. She'll kind of just gesture where. She says, "Don't step there," and then kind of
Right.
treating it as like a wall. She'll kind of work her way. She'll kind of look at Braga and be like, do you think we should, and she'll kind of gesture leftwards back towards the stairs a bit, but still like parallel towards the stairs? And then she'll kind of point off in the distance of that scratching sound. Or there.
Your guess is as good as mine. I am not a monster hunter. I am a monster slayer.
We're not looking for either. And then I guess she'll try and work her way, assuming that like front and to the right was like northeast. She'll try working her way back west a bit.
Okay. And are you just going by sense, or were you seeking out one of those sounds?
No, not the sound yet.
Okay. Yeah, you are able to draw back a few steps. Eventually, the stone will kind of begin to heat again, and you're definitely, on the exact same path that you came from.
And as we've been going along, do we hear any more of that scratching sound?
You do. Yeah, it's something of
Yeah.
a constant.
Yeah, okay. Then I think Dotty's gonna kind of give a one-shouldered shrug Araga's way and
Mhm.
start towards the scratching sound.
Arga will follow.
And then you find 5 bloody coffins crawling their way across the floor.
So if you were going northeast, if that was,
Uh-huh.
forward and to the right was the direction, the
Yeah.
sound kind of emanates. There are several, but the
Mhm.
closest one, the one that Dottie elects to pursue,
Mhm.
is kind of to the east, to the southeast,
Mhm.
perhaps.
Given that we're not supposed to go that far, then that sounds all right.
So
Yeah.
you set out after it, and some minutes pass. It doesn't seem as though the sound is drawing closer immediately. It keeps kind of at a fixed distance, but in time, it does sound just a little closer and just a little closer.
I don't think. Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
don't think we're gonna stop. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, abruptly, the sound was distant, and suddenly, Dottie can see maybe about 4 feet ahead of you, but still, that's kind of straining the edges of your vision. You can barely make out what's happening, but you can see what appears to be a long, scaled tail scraping across the stones of the darkness here. It's already tapering to a point, but you cannot see the end of it in either direction. And despite it clearly sloping down, it is about 1.5 times your height.
What
Okay.
kind of scales? Like snake or crocodile?
Is it like a smooth
Oh,
scale
yeah,
or like
open, flat, or rough and
rough and like armor?
You can roll vigilance to see how much you make out. Arga cannot see anything right now until she takes a step forward, by the way. She can just tell that Dottie has drawn up sharply. Presumably. I mean, I don't know if she did.
I mean, we haven't been warned about any like things,
Mm-hmm.
but also we haven't been told to look for these things.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Dottie can't tell anything specific. But yeah. Huh. Yeah, I think she'll just get a bit closer so Oraga can see it.
Oh. Hey.
Okay. Uraga, you are able to make out that everything that Dottie was able to make out. And it comes suddenly into view from nothing to this kind of murky vision. And you're able to tell that this creature has very large overlapping scales that appear somewhat snake-like. You're not an expert in snakes necessarily, I think, or crocodiles, but they definitely appear more that overlapping triangle shape that certainly speaks to serpents, though they're oversized and there is an unusual kind of pointed curve at the end that seems unnatural to you.
Mm-hmm.
However, what you take in is short-lived. As Dottie takes that additional step forward, she vanishes. You're holding hands right now, so what's Dottie's instinct to kind of everything around her suddenly bursting into light and being completely different?
I mean, it's already happened once,
Mm-hmm.
so she'll probably take a couple more steps just to get out of the way of Araga and maybe crouch down and make sure it's not a horrible place to be.
Sure. Yeah. So Uraga ends up sort of getting jerked forward again, and pulled.
Huh?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, if Araga felt her hand being pulled, she would move forward because she has also stepped out
she's done this
into.
more than anyone else at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and she has been literally holding hands with Elo Henri and following her through this sort of thing. So, I think it would just be instinct to just step after her immediately.
Okay. Yeah. So Dati appears first and keeps moving forward and crouches down, and Arga kind of somewhat pulled, but mostly just quickly stepping forward to keep pace. Bursts into view too. The two of you are in the forest of Davokar, clearly enough. Around you, sort of this deep brown dirt stretches in every direction, and trees rise up quite high. The trees here are thicker and taller than in many of the areas of the forest that you've been in, and vision is accordingly limited. But it does appear to be afternoon. There's a breeze, and it's a very stark contrast to sort of the just heavy emptiness of the travel you'd been doing moments before. You can smell the sounds of smell the sense of nature on the air,
Mm-hmm.
and it appears for the moment to be somewhat quiet.
You can hear the scent of wood.
Are we, I assume, not in Dark Davokar and can kind of get a little bit of a bearing on where we might be?
Is it visibly afternoon?
It is visibly afternoon, and you can see the occasional shaft of light kind of piercing through the canopy to touch the ground. As far as you can tell, you aren't in Dark Davokar, but the line can be fuzzy at times.
Yeah.
As far as you know, you are. It's kind of difficult right now to draw kind of a bearing, but you know that you were due to travel east.
Yeah.
And from your previous experiences,
It points you in the direction.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then yeah, we'll start heading in the direction that we stepped out in, I assume.
Yeah.
Okie dokes. So, whichever of you would like, go ahead and roll discreet.
Not it. Oh god, both of our discreet is 5.
Yep.
We are boned.
Who's ready?
Hey, holy shit, Dottie, I love you.
It's because she knows the markings that are very obvious.
Yeah, Dottie navigates.
As you continue to the east, you do quickly come up to a sign, Dati, that you can interpret as a sort of a waypoint for an elven trail. You don't think you've been on this one before, but the signs are universal and you're able to pursue it. Arga doesn't notice anything as you pass.
I busy myself with holding this giant head and following, making sure I don't lose Dottie. Listen, takes a lot of effort to not lose someone.
Yeah, true enough. And there is a very slight feeling that Dottie is attuned to of not quite peacefulness, but a sense of rest. As you venture to the east, you do know between that feeling and the occasional markings that you come upon that you're certainly on the right path. And the afternoon passes uneventfully, fortunately. The travel is fairly easy. It's shaded for the most part, so it's a pretty comfortable temperature. There's a pleasant breeze. Occasionally you hear the sounds of movement or animals somewhat distantly, but if you pause or just keep going cautiously, there's no encounter that plays out, and before long, the sun has begun to dim, and the light fades.
Do we bushcraft?
Oh yeah.
You certainly do.
No.
Dati finds some nice chewable roots.
Arga finds something that would probably be more suited for Chorus or Grotto. But she looks over the grub thoughtfully in her hand as it wriggles around. Then she tosses it over her shoulder and settles down with a ration instead.
Okay. Does she have many of those?
Let's see. Backpack. I've got 1 whey bread. 3 rations. Now 2 rations.
All right. Dottie will settle down at a particular campsite and start setting it up for the evening.
Alrighty. As the evening sort of begins to really set in and it turns into dusk, you will both hear the sounds of movement coming up the path from behind you. Sounds like just a solitary individual. And we're going to rewind a teeny tiny bit to...
You're welcome.
Well, thank you.
Skirt. So you might be wondering how I got here.
I walk.
Waka 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 waka.
Waka waka.
So, we find ourselves observing an elf who's about the same height as Henri, much broader shoulders, wearing a fairly tattered brown cloak that falls only to maybe the backs of his thighs, really. And he crouches above the path along a tree, and below the tree stands a female Ambrian. Bree, would you like to describe your character?
Hold on, I'll wait for Bree to describe their character first.
Do we have a Bree in the chat to replace me?
We know that it'll be cheesy.
But,
Ha! But to the pungeon with you.
Alright, that's it. Stream's over.
Hope it was
But,
worth it, Kevin.
But yeah, so the person underneath the tree is, she's on the shorter side, heavy, like, strong leathers covering her body, just really, like, combat-oriented gear, thick leather, green hood, knives hanging off her back, a thin but tall and powerful build, or tall, I am dumb. A thin but short build, because I said she wasn't very tall.
She's short, but she's tall.
In spirit.
Gotcha.
Mary frickin' Sue.
But,
Stands the stance of a champion.
But you can get the general aura of confidence from her wherever she goes.
Okay. Rad.
Is she cute?
How do you feel about scars and confidence?
Oh, I love scars. And confidence. TM, is she hot?
It's a player character. I don't decide that.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
All right. So the elf will look down in Ura's direction. Girl's like, I don't want to do them. Yes, magic missile. Anyway, the elf will consider Ura for a few seconds and then sort of gesture up along the path. And he'll say, there are markings in this direction, but you won't be able to see them without experience, and you haven't got it. But continue in that direction. Be careful not to stray. And shortly enough, you should be able to hear or see the camp of the people you are meant to join.
Uda will nod at that, casts a glance back up at the tree with a wide grin, and then, without really saying a word, just wave off the elf and start making her way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the elf doesn't really react to the wave, but he does kind of just stay perched where he is and watch.
And she keeps a steady path in the way she was created.
Cool. Yeah, so now, wind back up to the present. Urut kind of approaches the camp.
Shouldn't it be like a faster sound? You know, like the reverse sound. Yeah, there we go. So I'm approaching this camp, and what is it I'm seeing as I'm coming up to the this temporary establishment?
Arga is sitting by a fire that they've made. She is manspreading, and she has her boots off, and her toes are kind of wriggling around, and she is tearing a piece of bread with her teeth, and she's chewing loudly with her mouth open. Arga is a mountain of a woman. She is very easily 6 foot tall. She has a very muscular build. She is kind of a handsome woman. She has very strong features, and her hair is pulled back in a tight braid that kind of ends in dreadlocks, and it's this sort of strawberry blonde color, I think. And she has green eyes. And she is not paying attention to anyone that's coming up to the camp.
Is she currently the one on watch?
I don't think we're at, watch so much.
Okay.
It's just dinner time.
You're just like, who needs protection? We're just gonna chill out and eat bread with our toes out. Oh god.
Yep.
Dati don't see shit. Dati doesn't look good. Dati really doesn't look good. She looks fucking terrible. And as has been going on for a while, she hasn't really been working on the intimidating presence either. But she's kind of constantly going through the group supplies and possessions and just rechecking and checking and checking again. As she eats dinner, which is whey bread mostly. Oh wait, no. We both found. Yeah. So it's
You found ration.
yeah, yeah. It's roasted roots.
As you're coming up, you can probably see Arga is watching Dati kind of quartermaster and pick through belongings and stuff. And Arga kind of shoves her pack a little farther away behind her, using her body to hide. And she kind of like possessively closes it. And she has like a wary look over to Dati as she's munching and crunching loudly.
So, while all that movement and relaxation's going on, just a pair of like steel gray eyes staring out at the edge of the firelight as she judges you silently, before finally stepping out into the fire, wordlessly for a moment, but then calling out with a simple sound and gesture.
What's the simple sound?
Hey!
It's not, hey buddy.
And what's the gesture?
Just like a half wave, hand frozen in the
air. Okay. Arga kind of just like looks lazily over at you, her head rolls to the side. She doesn't seem startled at all.
Dati doesn't and stands up and stares but doesn't go for a weapon.
Arga says while she has her mouth full, she's talking around the food in her mouth. Who are you?
She'll, now in like clear view of the light, she'll stop for a moment, appraising Araga, and then glancing over at Dati for a moment, before lowering down her hood and revealing short, cropped black hair. And then with a smile, she says, "I'm here to make sure you two don't die."
Dati considers that before directly inquiring, "Who sent you?"
She'll give a laugh at that and vaguely say, just the people of the forest."
Which?
What was the season of elf? Yeah, that's it.
It was an autumn elf. Now, I'm not sure that Uro would know the differences, but it was definitely a tall elf, nearly 7 feet.
And what's the temperament of the autumn ones generally?
More patient.
Then she'll just say, it was the tall, patient sort. Rather than the short, feisty ones.
There are a few of those.
She seems to be having fun with your confusion.
Arga daydreams about a specific elf.
If you won't tell us who, then why?
She gives a sort of shrug at that and says, "They don't really give me names. They tend to just point me in a direction and tell me to kill a thing or two. But this time they told me to stop you from getting killed. Apparently it's been an issue."
And who are we?
She gestures to the two of you. Said you were sent. He told me you were sent on some sort of a mission. He said that that there'd be marks that I could follow, but that I was not taught to follow them. Honestly, I'm not sure why he told me about them at all.
Some of them do delight in sharing all that you do not know.
Arga kind of makes a dismissive gesture over to Dottie. Kind of a lazy, like, let it be, or could be interpreted as sit down. And she says over to the newcomer, "Do you have any meat?"
Yeah.
Not even in the firelight, and she's already getting hit on.
Listen.
She chuckles a bit at that and says, "Meat doesn't last too long. Out here, you gotta eat it fast."
Well, do you have any?
She shakes her head no.
Can you get some?
She says, I'm more of the kill the big thing kind of person."
Arga looks immediately disappointed and then stops making this gesture at Dottie.
Oh, so if she had meat, you'd be like, "All right, come join the group. Give me your meat."
Dottie will slowly start to sit down and gesture between herself and Uraga. "I am Dottie."
She'll glance over at the muscular one.
Araga.
And then she'll make her way over, not sitting down, but like standing by a nearby tree. She appraises them a bit longer. She'll eventually say, "They didn't give me the names, just general description and a location. So what is it we're actually doing here?"
We are learning things. We're going to a specific creature of these woods to find out something that it knows that we do not. And that is all.
Her eyes sparkle a bit in the light as she says, "Creature? What kind of creature?"
It pains me that there is not more that they told you.
You did say yourself, they delight in what we do not know.
So they do.
Arga busies herself with shoving more bread in her mouth.
It is a lindworm.
She blinks. You can tell that she has no clue what a lindworm is.
Oh. Dati doesn't seem like she's going to help with that.
What about Araga? She's all about showing off her knowledge when she has it.
Are you sure you don't have any meat?
She's just gonna raise a brow at you and tilt her head slightly. You're really into the whole meat thing, aren't you?
I'm hungry. I'm always hungry.
She pauses mid-sentence, clearly checking you out. Probably because of all the muscle.
Arga looks like a cool cat. She's super chill about it. Also, she has 5 vigilant, or 7 vigilant. She probably doesn't actually notice. Nope, she has no fucking idea. She kind of makes a vague gesture with the half-eaten ration that's in her hand, and she says, "Well, when we find one, I'm sure you will know exactly what it is."
Are we killing it?
No.
If you try, we will all die. As I said, we are finding out something it knows, and that is all.
She crosses her arms and nods. That would go against what they told me to do.
Oh man, what the?
What? With a slight sigh of disappointment, she'll say, "Very well. I will not try to fight it."
Try is all you could do.
She gives a toothy grin at that. Well, it'd be an interesting one at the very least.
Dati will say, "I am taking first watch." She will look to Araga. Which do you want?
After you.
She will then look to our most recent companion. That leaves you with the third watch. And then Dati will start setting up her sleeping bag.
She'll shrug at the schedule and then move closer to the fire and sit down. She doesn't seem very guarded or particularly worried.
Araga passes the fuck out.
Just in place, just chomps on a bit of bread and then falls over snoring.
Nah, she sets up her bed near Dati, her bedroll, and she'll use her backpack as a pillow. You'll see that she fusses a bit with the restraints of it, making sure it's exceptionally tightened and secured, and like goes so far as to flip it over so that it can't be accessed. And she stretches, yawns like a bear, falls asleep, and starts snoring very loudly.
Uda looks impressed. And then, before Dati starts smoking themselves into oblivion, if they do, she'd glance over and call out, "So what exactly are you? You don't look like any Ambrian I've ever seen. You a barbarian?"
I wouldn't know.
She looks, confused at that. You don't know your homeland or where you came from?
No. You've never, not worked with the elves very long, have you?
They're not exactly the talkative type. It's mostly
They're
been
not.
a relationship of convenience.
Dottie will kind of sit in silence for a bit and consider that. Not so for me. But you should get some rest.
She'll stare at you for a bit longer, trying to make eye contact. Or, well, without saying another word, getting up and setting up her own section of camp.
Okay.
And that's basically it for the night.
Alrighty. So a night passes. Anyone who needs to recover stat points may roll to do so in certain cases.
Araga is now at full everything.
This is
Alright.
Dottie.
It's finally happened, boys.
We're back at full.
Yeah. So that's nice. I like that. I like being at 81 stat points.
81. What a power gamer.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm also at 80.
Yeah. We already need that though.
Actually, wait, I'm at 80. I have 1 to 10. I haven't put a 1 point into something. Hold
Oh.
on.
No, I have to change the overlay.
You just change cunning to a 30.
What was this? The thing that was adept that I didn't accidentally put as adept.
V, did you
That was
did
my
you
fault.
take
Yeah, I took exceptional.
ability? Yeah, okay. Because you didn't put it down. That's why I asked.
No, I did. It's all the way at the bottom.
Oh, I'm looking. Sorry. Never mind. Don't even worry.
Oh.
Don't even worry about it.
Oh, he was looking at your dead character sheet. Ow. Oof.
I just got banana bread.
Can I have
From-
some?
No,
From my
you
dead
can't.
character sheet.
Alright. So who's the point individual for traveling now?
Well,
so, before they head out, she
Yeah.
Uda would talk to Dati again,
Mm-hmm.
saying
During
along
the morning.
lines of- yes.
Okay.
Saying along the lines of, "You seem to be," she glances at Araga, pausing mid-sentence, "the leader of this group."
We serve the Iron Pact, and in that, yes, I am the leader. What?
Her eyes open a bit more at that. Then, do you know of these marks that we're supposed to follow?
I will describe them to you.
She nods. Very well. just point them out to me, and I'll make sure we don't walk into anything untoward.
Dati
Okay.
will describe the relevant ones to everyone as they go along, just in case she misses them and someone
Yeah.
sees them that doesn't understand.
Harga does not pay attention.
Go ahead and roll vigilance. Bruh.
Flat?
Great.
It's not a crit fail.
So, despite the descriptions from Dottie, you're not able to grasp what she's pointing at. It seems like each time she indicates something and describes it, whatever she's describing just isn't there. And this happens time after time. It's kind of up to you.
Why do
whether
you just keep pointing at the tree? There's nothing there. It's just a tree. She sort of gets annoyed at the fact that she feels like Dottie is not actually pointing out these markings to her.
I will tell you if we see any of the ones that describe imminent danger.
And then with a grimace, she makes sure that both of the two are ready and then starts making her way off.
Alrighty. Go ahead and roll discreet for travel.
Harga carries a giant monster head.
Is it -1 for me?
No. With the group, you'll just be
Okay. Well, I was just curious because they had a
yeah. It'll still just be flat.
Ooh.
Look at that. It's a crit.
That means
Hey!
no combat for any of travel. Let's go.
Yeah,
boys.
for the rest of your travel rolls.
That's a
Forever.
crit success! Yay!
We've never had one of those before.
We've literally never had one.
You notice I've essentially made Carmion 2 start off with with almost a critical failure into a critical success.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, so far today, you got yourself a 20 and a 1. So, travel is a breeze, despite the fact that Ura cannot parse whatever it is Dottie's trying to point out until Dottie just gives up about it. Dottie is able to steer the group in a general direction, and Ura is able to find a path with extreme ease. Partially because even if she can't recognize it, there's a path there. But she keeps them on it, and she keeps them moving smoothly through the course of the day. All of you feel fairly invigorated during the travel. When you take a break, it's hardly even needed. And then in the early afternoon, maybe just an hour or an hour and a half after midday, Dottie will see an indicator that guides the group off the path and slightly to the north. And after only another few hundred meters through the forest, you abruptly come up on the stone face of a wall or of a hillside that rises to block passage. And in the mouth of this hillside stretches an extraordinarily large cave entrance. The ground continues levelly up nearly to the this kind of dark maw before sloping down at a 45-degree angle or so, and it stretches. It's probably 200 feet wide or so by maybe 60, 70 in height. And vision is lost almost immediately as it kind of stretches out, but you can see kind of filtered strands of light here or there that just illuminate an expansive sort of cavern before you.
She'll look back to Dottie, questioning glance in her eyes. Is this the place?
It's the start. Dottie will head towards the cave entrance while fishing around in the pouch to produce the jar.
Mm-hmm.
And at the cave entrance, she'll let the fireflies go.
They were piranha flies. You get attacked.
Oh, no.
They're baby glints.
That'd be rough. But, in fact, they spiral out of the mouth of this glass jar. And for a moment, it seems like they just drift aimlessly this way and that. There's a sound like a very faint whisper. And it seems almost elvish to Dottie's ears, but it's so indistinct, it's so fleeting and so unexpected that she can't really get a grip of what was said, if anything.
It wasn't Sindarin, it was Quenya.
Oh, you
God.
nerd.
You're such a nerd.
I didn't get that at all.
It was Lord of the Rings.
You uncultured swine.
It's either nerd or
It's
uncultured
nerd or
swine.
uncultured swine. There's no in between. So the fireflies kind of fan out and then twist together into a stream that flit into the cave, and they light up in the darkness so that you can see them, but the light illuminates virtually nothing because it's faint other than just themselves. Do you just set down to follow after them?
Well, de facto leader.
I think so.
Okie dokes.
Araga will be directly behind Dottie as we're like shuffling along.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if Ura stabs us in the back, Araga will have Dottie's back because Araga
Right.
can probably take more stabs than Dottie can.
Ura is currently very focused on these fireflies.
Yeah. So they wind their way down into this cave, and as you walk forward after it, probably the first thing you notice is that the floor is smooth. It's not slippery, but it's been worn away in a slightly curved path that stretches maybe 15 feet across. And it makes for very easy travel, in fact. So you follow this curved passage down through this expansive cave, and you can't see anything to the left or the right. The light is impenetrable, or the darkness is impenetrable.
I stab the darkness. I penetrate it. I don't actually.
Cast magic missile at the dark.
Nerd.
Anyway, as you venture forth, the path sort of levels out after maybe 100 meters of mild descent forward. And shortly after that, you begin to see a couple hints of kind of definition to the sides. You can see sort of a passage wall that appears to be the same kind of worked stone that's the rest of what you've encountered so far. And occasionally you can hear a sound here or there. Go ahead and roll vigilant, each of you, just to see how clearly you do hear.
Not.
Can I have a -1 because she's not really paying attention?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my fucking god. Oh my god.
It's not a crit.
Okay, it's just a regular.
That's
What the heck, V?
Starting off strong.
So Ura, despite not listening, there's not a lot to pay attention to other than watching the fireflies and listening. So she catches a little more than the others. The others, for reference, can basically just hear a creak, a click, a little drop of water, things that
Happen in
are
caves.
more or less perfectly in place for their surroundings.
Perfectly balanced, all things should be.
Aura, on the other hand, can hear the occasional heavy step or the rustle, enough to tell that there are things or people in proximity, but they don't seem to be drawing closer. And you can't even really quite tell, but it doesn't sound as though things are following you per se. It's just that they exist nearby.
She'll she'll hesitate a step for a moment upon hearing it, glance to the other two to see if they notice, and then with a smirk she'll say, "Looks like this might be a bit more interesting. Sounds like we got some company in."
Is this company coming for us?
She shakes her head.
Things live in caves.
Do worms make stepping sound? Lindworms?
They do.
Well then, maybe this is your lindworm.
If we were hearing it step, we would know.
She shrugs. Maybe it's a baby. What's a baby lindworm look like? She pauses, hand to her chin.
Dati does not pause. Nor, I assume, do the fireflies.
The fireflies do not. They continue on. The hints of definition that you've seen to the left and right fade back into darkness, and again, you are deprived of most reference points. And after another minute or two, which continues in much the same way, very easy travel through this worn stone, slightly grooved, with the occasional sounds coming from ahead and behind now. The fireflies abruptly wink out, leaving you in darkness for the span of maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Really just long enough to process that there's no more. Before an expansive light fills the area from above. It's kind of like a burst, like a candle being lit, this sudden surge of flame before it settles to something more reasonable. And it illuminates a very large and somewhat deep cavern. There are pillars of stone here or there that rise 60, 70 feet from floor to ceiling. And some are spindly, some are thick. Around this large room, which spans maybe 200 to 300 feet in total, you can see an array of creatures. There are trolls that you can recognize that stand in various states of dress. Some are wearing these almost regal clothes that don't match any form of style you've seen before. Some are wearing the odd rags and armor that are more commonly seen on rage trolls as they're hunting down a party, which all of you have probably fought at one point or another. There are goblins. There's actually a human off to the side that you can't see any features beyond a kind of this battered, kind of smoky black armor that they're wearing. There are beasts as well, but it's a very motley collection rather of just creatures and beings that have all kind of been arrayed in this almost court-like environment.
Did they notice our fireflies?
Most all of them are looking at you right now.
Uda will lean slightly over to whisper to Dati and say, "I don't think that's our lindworm."
Certainly not, Dottie will say.
Araga stands there awkwardly holding a giant decapitated head.
It's in a bag. No one can see the head.
It is swaddled, yes. Very carefully, and she's not touching the tongue.
Are we not supposed to touch the tongue? Never
Don't
knew
touch
that.
the tongue.
Okay.
I don't think Dati has any idea what you've been carrying around, to be honest.
No,
Neither does
She
Uda.
doesn't.
nobody has asked.
They just think you're weird.
Looking over the now well-lit cave and general assemblage, I think Dati will probably just try speaking Ost's name, which is Ost.
It is. You got it.
I
Got it.
speak the name of Os. Os.
Alrighty.
And they all pull out swords.
Now, there is a small shift. None of the people in this cavern speak. But they do stir just a little at the name Ost. As they continue to observe the group of you. You can see a little quartet of meerkats scurry from one part of the room and sort of scamper around a pillar, chasing each other before vanishing off into the darkness in another direction. And shortly after that, the heavy sounds of feet on stone precede an exceptionally large troll that comes out of the darkness on the same kind of slope path that you've been following.
How big are his muscles?
How big are his muscles? Quite large. And he's clad in really just sort of what looks to be ceremonial garb. There, it looks more like just bits of cloth here or there, but it's in this very deep, rich purple dye that you're not familiar with. And there are kind of chain bracelets of very fine workmanship that are around his arms rather, and one kind of slung over his shoulder. And he comes to a stop about 20 feet away from the three of you. And he very loudly says, "You must prove your worth to see Ost. We will fight."
Oh, Uda immediately looks excited. Her eyes gleaming.
Dati doesn't look excited and rubs at her face. And questioningly gesturing across the entire cavern. One of us, one of you, all of us, one of you.
Does she keep looking back at Uda?
When you say one of us, all of you, Araga kind of takes a step back away from you, Dati.
Uda still steps forward. Like me teacher.
Yeah. So he will take a moment at that question before letting out this guttural noise that might be a laugh, might be a snort. And he'll say, "All of you. Only me."
She gives a wide grin at that and says, "You must be quite the confident fighter then."
He does not respond to this.
Araga stands there awkwardly holding a giant decapitated head. And leans over to Dati and says, "Should we try to show them this?"
I think we should.
I don't even know what that is.
It's an embodiment of corruption. She says very matter-of-factly, remembering exactly what her wife, Ilo Henri, told her.
Dati holds up a hand towards the rage troll and then very precisely asks, why would that help?
Araga sighs at you, rolls her eyes, and she steps forward. She just sort of drops the head and makes a squelchy sound. She pulls the tarp open, says, "Behold, a Monagel. I have slain. I have removed its head from the body of this creature." No. She says, "I have removed its head from its body." This
Question. Does she say, I have slain?
No.
I have removed its
No.
head.
That was all in character. Yeah, she's like,
I don't have
I have played. No. I removed.
You
It
don't
took
have
me a while,
I
but
don't
I
have
put it off.
impulsive. Okay, I don't have impulsive.
No, it's fine. You can say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Odo looks confused and impressed.
So there's this giant fleshy head with shark teeth and a thorny tongue that belonged to an
You're remembering
abomination.
this way better than I do.
Mm-hmm. It's a really long thorny tongue for the record. So
it's
as it rolls
almost-
away, it kind of like uncoils
Uh-huh.
along the floor of this stone here.
And it makes a dramatic like as it slops down.
So everyone in the cavern kind of stares down at the head for the span of a few seconds after Arga's proclamation. And then the troll who has challenged them looks back up and he'll just say, "Ah!" and step forward in a very lumbering advance.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's a bad question. Never mind. Arga draws her sword.
Stella, what was the question?
Yeah, what was the question?
No, I'll type it. All right. Don't worry about it.
Or as 16 quick, yeah?
Yes.
That's
She
a
is
lot of
She is very fast.
It's a lot of quick.
Super fast. Araga has 12 quick. Dati has 11.
Wait, what?
I need bop your... Oh, here's the battle music.
Bop, 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 bop,
Why are we
bop,
bopping? Leave Bop alone.
bop, bop,
You know what
bop,
time it is over there?
bop, bop, bop.
It's almost lunchtime.
Let Bop eat.
Let them eat cake.
Let Bop eat cake.
I want cake. Bop, give me
No.
cake.
Bop has earned her cake.
Gib, cake.
So what does Uhura do?
So, is it pretty clear that like the fight has started?
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
All right. Well, while I'm trying to read my abilities, someone's cycling through my character sheet.
Maybe a little. I was trying to read them too.
So, seeing like the telltale signs of someone who's ready to fight, and that the talking is over, and
Mhm.
just a quick flash of movement, she like sprints up to him, getting right in his face, and just in a quick movement pulls out both of her knives and just starts stabbing.
Okay.
So, because of how my abilities work, I have 3 total attacks.
Okay.
2 of them will be quick, and 1 will be using discreet. The one with discreet gets automatic advantage.
Interesting.
Automatic advantage?
Yes, because I have feint.
Ah, yes, okay.
So as long as I use discreet to attack, I get advantage on the attacks. But in order to get
Interesting.
2 attacks, I need to use quick. Quick. So she will do 2. What's the defense modifier?
+4.
Okay.
This is
Probably gonna hit. Is that with the +1? Yes, that is. Or and then with the she will use discreet with her offhand. Discreet. This has automatic advantage and does 2d4 as the advantage damage.
So you add an extra 1d4 on top of the advantage damage?
Yes, but I can only do that once per attack. Or, like, for one attack.
Okay. It's like, once per attack. Interesting. Okay. Go ahead.
Backstab may only be performed once per turn.
Yep.
So, the dagger does 7, and then 2 on the first hit, 6 on the second.
Okay. So 2, a 6, and a 7.
Oh, and also there's a faint glow coming from the front of her. It's very faint right now, though.
Alrighty. 2. And it is Arga's turn. So these knife blows find their way striking very solid and thick troll skin. At least one of the stabs just doesn't even really get a point in. It just bounces right along. But a few beads of blood do seep from the wounds of the others.
Arga will draw this massive sword off her back, and with a blood-curdling cry, rush forward and slam her greatsword down towards the
into the ground.
Into the ground. What's the modifier?
This is stone.
+4.
It'll just bounce.
Rah!
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Does that get advantage?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you're flanking it.
1d4?
Yeah.
13.
We high rolled an attack, Stella. You did it.
Yay!
All right.
Pain threshold?
I don't think so, but hang on.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Armor and probably robust. It's hard to hurt.
And a fair amount of strong, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no pain threshold hit there, but pretty good chunk of damage. Where does she strike?
Right on the clavicle.
Okay, yeah. So the tip of this greatsword just digs through the skin near his neck and cuts into the bone of his clavicle, which is huge, and
Huge.
probably doesn't get that far, but certainly enough to cause to open a deep wound.
It's a good thing Uda's short. And the troll is tall.
Alrighty, Dottie.
Dati rushes in, pulls free her dagger as a free action, and knifes the guy.
Okay,
Hey, I see you're a man of culture as well.
it's still a +4.
Right in the gut. We're gonna Ides of March this guy.
Or Julius Caesar.
Same thing.
So let's see, we had
Dottie is a vegetarian.
Oh, so you're saying we should do a Grapes of Wrath?
No, Caesar salad.
So the troll bellows and takes a step back as this just kind of assault unleashes upon him. And as he steps back and as he bellows, you can see a couple of the wounds just seal. And as he steps, oh, that was
What was?
We didn't like that.
Oh.
Is there a second Kevin?
So you see these cuts closing. Some of them close entirely. Others just begin to seal shut. And
Who's he gonna stab?
I'll go for Araga. She's got the big sword.
And she did stab him in the clavicle. It was pretty rude.
Yep, both of those things are true. So he's going to kind of advance to reclose that space that he just created, and he's going to smash a hand down towards her. So go ahead and roll to defend at -3.
Hey.
Very nice. Now do it again as he rears back and unleashes with his other arm.
Oh, okay. Oof.
Very solid.
It was a good damage negate, though.
7 damage negation is very good. You take 3 points of damage.
Holy crap. Okay.
Well, it's a good thing none of us have negation 0 armor. Otherwise, I could go down in one hit.
Damn. So Arga deftly steps out of the way of the first blow, and then she catches the other like on her side, and it knocks the breath out of her, and she sways a bit and staggers, but she manages to stay on her feet.
Okay, solid. Yeah, and he's just unleashing with his hands. You can see now as he's fighting, they kind of end not so much in claws as just like his nails are these like hook-like lengthy extensions that are more than capable of tearing through armor and flesh alike, it appears. Ura, it's your turn.
She frowns, looking very upset. Not that Araga got hit, but that she is not the focus.
Uh-huh.
And she's gonna triple down on stabbing.
Yeah, and you'll get advantage on all 3
All
of your
of them.
attacks now instead of just 1.
What was the plus? Like 6 now?
It will be +6 to hit, yeah.
So
So that's a 4 plus 1d4, which is 8. Nice.
6.
7 plus 2, 9.
And then here's the discrete one, which has plus 2d8.
6. Wow.
Holy
Holy
shit.
crap, dude.
Okay.
She's a fighter.
She's a pit fighter.
Yes.
Okay, so that's okay. Arga, your turn.
Orica going to cleave the earth again. You said +4 or +5?
So it's +6 now. It was +4, but you get 2 from flanking.
Boop.
And then give us that flank. Nice.
6.
Okie dokes. And Dati. Okie dokes. So, yeah, the 3 of you continue to beset this creature with a whole array of blows. Ura is able to pierce skin again and again. She opens up a wound on his thigh, on his side, on his chest, and this thick troll blood kind of rolls forth. The other two attacks seem to do just a little less against the just armor-like skin that this troll possesses, but he's still looking somewhat worn down by the blows. Again, as he kind of braces himself against the attacks, some of the wounds begin to close even further. The first cut that was opened up at his clavicle is entirely sealed now, as if it had never been there at all. And
He has master level regeneration, boys.
because of Ura's kind of assault there, he wheels about enraged and lunges forward to try and claw her to bits. So go ahead and roll defense at -3.
Ooh.
Oh boy. Oh gosh. So roll to confirm whether it's a crit or not.
Ooh.
Okay, that's good.
So that is 8 damage.
No.
Oh, is he doing more now?
So the first attack does more than the second attack.
Okay, I might.
What's your toughness?
10?
Yeah. Okay. No, you just took 11 damage.
Wow. I've
Wow.
super low rolled the defense.
Yeah. That. Well, yeah. You got a 20 on the defense and a 2 on the armor.
Well, I got a
Yeah. So Ura flits about and just opens wounds up on this troll left and right, and he twists and just brings his right arm down. And as she moves to jump to the side, just claws rend through shoulder and chest, scrape along ribs, and it's enough to put her down just instantly.
Wow.
And then it's my turn.
It is your turn. Go ahead and roll a death save.
What if I just rolled a 20?
I would really prefer you not. Okay.
Oh my
alright.
god.
You're at 1 out of 3. Araga, it is your turn.
Araga smash?
I'm gonna need you to roll a crit.
Roll
I'm
to
gonna need you
quit?
roll a crit.
Goodbye!
Please roll a natural crit. Oh.
Okay. 1d4.
10 damage.
Alrighty. And Dati.
Dati died. She also got hit. Or Kory is just being careful about what he says because he's impulsive.
No, I bumped the thing.
The mute
Bumped
on
the
your
thing.
microphone.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
You're impulsive if you're muted.
Yeah.
He's gaming the system.
Okay, Dati will swing her club down at the thing's legs to try and maybe bring it down.
Yeah.
So Araga can finish it off.
Okay, 1d4. Nice.
Nice.
Wow.
Pretty necessary level of damage on this thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So those are some solid blows. Where did Araga attack the troll?
She'll slash. No, she cleaves downward, trying to hack at the same spot that she hit.
The clavicle.
Okay. Yeah. So the wound that had sealed over and healed is reopened. Not quite in a welter of blood, but it certainly does just part again, and he bellows in pain. And then Dottie kind of just connects with the side of one leg, and you can see the weight of this massive troll shift unsteadily. But he doesn't quite fall. So he will attack Dati.
Does he though?
Well, we're about to find out. Yeah, so go ahead and determine. You roll against a resolute, is that correct?
Yes.
He's just flat then. Okay, yeah, so he turns towards Dati, lifting a gore-laden hand to attack. And somehow she dissuades him from doing so.
She swings her weapons at him as if he gets a hit in, she might not give a fuck and just stab him in the eye with her knife.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how he regenerates eyes, but maybe he doesn't know how he regenerates eyes either.
Right. It seems enough to deter him, for the moment anyway. He'll turn in a pivot to face Araga instead. And bring down the hand in an angry swipe. Go ahead and roll to defend at -3.
Thanks, Dottie.
Welcome.
Okay. And again.
Thanks, Dottie.
Well, are you okay? Because all right.
I'm pretty sure I'm down.
How much else do you have?
11.
7 plus 3 damage, so 10 damage.
I have 1 hit point.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all we needed. Just enough for another round.
Dottie.
Okay. Arga's turn. Go ahead and attack.
Arga remembers when she was traveling and
Is
Dottie
it
wasn't
Araga's
there.
turn? Because it's not Araga's turn
Oh,
just
you're
yet.
right. It's Ura's turn. Go ahead and make a death save.
Just roll a 1, forehead.
Well,
Close
that's
enough.
That's
We'll
3
take it.
ones.
Yeah, so that keeps you steady at 1/3 of the way to being dead. And then it is Arga's turn.
Ow. Nine damage.
Are you clavicking?
Yeah, you just see her double down, just trying to essentially cleave the arm off this thing.
Cleave is clavicle.
And
Clavicle cleaving.
Dottie.
Clav is clevicle.
Nice.
And you guys
Good
are very in
advanced
sync.
rolls.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Dottie's blow will lay this troll low.
Oh, good.
Low, like on the ground and dead low?
Yes, that kind of low.
Hey.
Really, I
Same.
think Dottie, even though it happens in a different sequence, I think Dottie probably just drops it to a knee, and then Araga cuts its head off.
Yeah.
Totally work.
Araga just, as it comes down, just automatically just swings it horizontally and just cleaves the head off. Regenerate this.
Wow. Yeah,
You've
so,
been playing
so
too much
this
Resident Evil 3.
blow from the club hits the same spot, and it just topples the troll down onto a knee anyway. He thuds heavily. I mean, the ground shakes as this creature comes down. And it's just in range for Araga to cleave its head off, deliver that very witty comment, and it collapses to the ground, fortunately not on top of Ura, and sort of blood just kind of flows from the wound as it dives.
Araga will try to apply things to Aura.
You see, like, a bright crimson red glow shining through her armor right above her heart.
Like a blood is gushing from right here kind of thing?
No.
Okay, like a
a
what the
red
fuck is
magical
this?
light.
Okay, cool. Well, Arga just kind of tosses her greatsword down. She reaches into her pack and she has to fight with it a little bit because she's essentially doubled down on the restraints of it and making sure it's secure. She rips out an herbal cure and kind of in a way like she had seen
Just
Alonri,
slap it on there.
but like way, 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 way shittier. She'll try to staunch your wounds.
It's like if a toddler saw what a doctor did and then mimicked that.
That's very, very accurate.
Okay. Yeah, so fortunately, Arga is able to staunch the flow of blood to the point that Ura is no longer teetering on the precipice of death. And in short time, Ura will come to. Go ahead and roll 1d4 for HP, and then you get +1 from the herbal cure.
So it's just a sharp gasp of air. Ura sits straight up with a wince of pain. Well, if I'm alive, I guess that means we won, right? She looks around.
Dati will, at Ura's recovery, look across the assembled personages, including some very well-dressed trolls still, and say, is she right?
Everyone sort of stares at the collection of you and the corpse of the troll. And at the question from Dati, you see a few nods, although no one says anything immediately. Instead, after a moment, every denizen of this cavern lifts an arm if they're holding something like a staff, or a foot if they're not, and brings it down simultaneously in a form of applause. You gather, and it makes the entire cavern tremble. And they still don't say anything. But you can hear, as the quiet returns, the sound of rustling coming from deeper in the cavern, from where the considerable light even so begins to fade. And from the darkness comes an enormous serpent. You can see its head first, and its head is easily larger than any of the trolls in the cavern. It's large enough to engulf your entire party in one bite. And an equally large body of a snake follows from behind. It comes forward in a kind of winding route. Rather than coming immediately forward, it curls across the back of the cavern and wraps around a pillar. But eventually, coiling its body around and then twisting its head to rest sort of upon the coil of its own frame, it stares down at the three of you, and with a flick of an enormous tongue, it will kind of hiss out a "well fought."
Now that the fight is over and Ura's heart is starting to slowly go back to a resting, if painful, pace, the glow with it dies down.
Araga will offer you a hand to help you to your feet.
Thanks. Dati takes it.
Not Dottie.
Oh, well, never mind.
You're impulsive. You already took it.
Araga lets go of Dottie's hand, lets Dottie fall, and then helps up Ura.
No, okay.
Sorry, Kory, you're the one.
Yeah, you're right. I took impulsive.
Ura takes the hand with a wink and a smile.
Araga looks like she's about to pass the fuck out at 1 HP.
Yeah. Dati will ask Ost If you don't mind, some of us may take this meeting sitting down. And then kind of gesture to the floor for Araga and Ura.
Ura makes herself continue standing.
What does Arga do?
Arga picks up her greatsword and uses like a cane to kind of hold herself up.
And then
Okay.
she yeets the head.
Oh, what does she do?
Okay. Oh god. All right. Okay, she doesn't take the sword. Instead, she scoops up the tarp around the head, concealing it again. Very careful not to touch the tongue. She's very stiff as she does this. She's bloodied. She's walking with an extreme limp, and she'll go up closer and present it to... She'll get down on a knee and basically present it by opening it up in proximity.
Ost's head kind of lifts from where it's resting. Drifts forward, tilts to the side so one kind of enormous eye can peer down to study the gift that Arga is presenting. And though it doesn't speak, it must give some kind of signal because a troll steps forward from the sort of gallery in the perimeter of this cavern, and it descends towards Ost and towards Araga. And upon reaching her, it will reach down, sort of just grip the Manigal's head by the tongue, in fact, just past its jaw, just kind of clenches around the thorns with apparent indifference. It will pick the head up and begin trudging away past the side of Ost's body and soon into the darkness. Ost's attention shifts from Araga to Ura, and it will kind of twitch its head towards the kneeling barbarian nearby, and it will say, "Come here."
Ura will, without hesitation, head over, glance at Araga, and figure that's what she's supposed to do, so she'll get down.
So once they're both kneeling in proximity to Ost, the serpent lifts its head higher yet and positions really just directly above the two. And then its jaws creak open a fraction. And Dati can see kind of the swing of this beast as it kind of positions itself such. And then globs of really thick saliva begin to fall from sort of the cavernous mouth of this lindworm.
He's giving us loogies?
And kind of it like lands on Araga's shoulder, and it lands on Ura's head. And in pretty short order, you're both drenched in this very thick goop that's unpleasant for sure. I mean, it's nasty and it smells a little bit, but it has a numbing sensation to it.
And this is where Kevin says, add 20 corruption to your sheet.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for permanent corruption. So it's numbing and a little relaxing, and you can feel, each of you, the wounds that you've endured kind of beginning to knit shut at an exceptionally quickened rate.
God. Disgusting.
Rhoda just looks mostly confused, and then once the feeling starts coming through and the wounds start closing, she just looks interested.
Sorry, you cut out a little there at the end?
Once the wounds start closing and the numbness sets in, she goes from like confusion to like extreme interest.
Interest?
Yes.
Araka has probably been in grosser, more gory situations before, so she's probably like, ugh, but that's it. It's not really anything. She's had worse, much worse days, probably.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So over the course of the conversation, really that goes on now, you can feel your wounds fading. It is certainly nasty, but still kind of nice. Oast settles back after that gift, maybe, question mark, and its head once again settles on the ridged coil of its body, and you can see that along the length of this serpent's body, which you can't make out completely, like only a portion of it is in vision. It has these kind of ridged hooks along its spine that flare up rather than being entirely smooth, and it has this mottled brown coloration that's kind of intersected here or there by splotches of a very vivid green and a very dark black. And after a moment, the serpent's attention flicks first to Dati in the back and then down to kind of the mucus-covered Araga. And it will say, "I have accepted your gift. What is it you have come for?"
And then he says, "DM, is she hot?"
Oh my god. You're unchained.
Hello, Raiders! Welcome to Symbaroum! This is a dark fantasy TTRPG system and setting by Free League Publishing. We have just killed a rage troll and now a giant, ancient, spooky serpent, almost like a baby god kind of thing, maybe, question mark. Just spit on us and it's healing us or something.
Yeah, we got regenerating loogies.
2/3 of us did. One of us stayed back because they know how to not get hit.
Yeah, by telling other people to get hit.
I mean, that's a way to not get hit. Dati will announce their purpose as we seek a way to find the Solemn King, our enemy and yours.
Oast doesn't move immediately upon hearing the request. Instead, it tilts its gargantuan head after maybe 5 or 6 seconds to kind of bring its eye down to level with Araga and with Ura. And its head bobs forward and down to kind of, be on the level with them. And then it will snake up and forward to kind of drift over where Dati stands behind them, considers her from above before kind of coiling back through the air to the spot where it had begun. A few of the figures along the perimeter of this cavern shift a little during the inspection, though no one speaks. And as its consideration comes to a close, the serpent makes a little nodding gesture before saying, "I can do that. What do you wish for the Solemn King?"
Don't fuck this up, Dottie.
Yeah, Dottie. Don't fuck this up. Do not throw away your shot.
We wish for nothing good and to end his reign, though that part may not be ours.
Are you prepared?
To do it ourselves? No. We are to find the way. And that is all.
The Lindworm seems to consider this for a few minutes. And it does take a few minutes of complete silence on the Serpent's part and complete silence of the assembled Watchers. Do all of you just sit tight? Does anyone say anything, do anything?
I don't think Araga can really move.
Dati looks at
trying to catch up with the conversation.
Dati looks impatient, but doesn't necessarily act on it.
Mm-hmm.
Two hours later.
Certainly feels that way. Eventually, a filmy lid slips down to cover one of the snake's eyes and then the other. And it shakes itself. And it declares, "Your passage is prepared. There will be a crystal that you must destroy. That will open the avenue to the Solemn King." And as the Lindworm explains this, the three of you feel a sort of pulling at your gut. Each of you can go ahead and make a resolute roll at -5.
I ain't gonna do that shit.
Yeah, look at me, I'm Dati, I roll persuasive.
Oh! So close.
You said resolute -5?
Correct.
Can't see what I'm flexing right
Oh
here.
my god, I was so close.
I wasn't close at all.
Okay, so this pulling in your guts intensifies, and it feels like something is ripping you apart from the inside. Ura and Dati abruptly pass out. The world seems to spin and to burst with odd colors, and then there's darkness for each of you. For Arga, it's a little different. She feels the same sensation, and it's unnatural and wrong. But as everything begins to whirl, and as these shots of strange color fill the cavern, she's able to stay with it just enough to kind of see this almost pillar of colorful light. It all comes together in a swirl, and it illuminates herself and Dati and Ura. And for a moment, you can kind of see this shadowed image where the serpent was just immediately before you. And then the ground gives way, and it feels as though she's falling. That only lasts maybe 4 or 5 seconds before abruptly the light, the sensation fades away, and Arga kind of slams down onto the ground on 2 feet of a corridor, a worked earth, or well, actually stone corridor. It's completely different. Everything around you has vanished, and to your left and to your right, the unconscious forms of Ura and of Dati just slam into the ground. heavily and kind of go still.
And we're dead.
You can see that this corridor you're in is a murky green in color. It's reflective in the sense of like polished granite or marble. Maybe 4 or 5 paces wide, and it stretches forward and stretches behind. As you glance behind, you can see it changes from that green color into just stone, ground and earth. But there's no sense of light, and you can't see far in that direction, but you can tell it's kind of a return out into something more natural than where you are now. Ahead of you, the passage continues until it fades into the darkness. But you've clearly been transported somewhere else. And kind of Arga stands over her 2 companions. And I think that's where we'll cut the session.
Awesome! Thank you so much. Also, I feel so badass. Got
Why?
1 hit point, and I just chopped the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kevin, for another amazing, awesome episode. And we're gonna do some real quick shout outs as we go around round robin style and say goodbye, and then I will do my shout outs. We're gonna start off this week with Kory. Tell us about whatever you're gonna talk about this week.
Hello. Yes. I am a professional Lord of the Rings meme grader. I find the best and the worst Lord of the Rings memes, and I talk about them on my stream over at twitch.tv/roughabrasiveswanbleedpurple, which is actually a true fact about swans. They bleed purple.
Thanks for that.
Trivia.
Lovely. I learned
Personally,
something.
I prefer Eager Unusual Sloth or Ralph or Z.
Next, we've got Obdurant.
Hello, I'm Obdurant. I play games here sometimes, things like Valorant and Destiny and stuff like that. I also play Symbaroum, or run Symbaroum here on Wednesday nights, which you just witnessed. Occasionally on Fridays, I play Dark Matter, a sci-fi themed D&D game made by Mage Hand Press. And that's it.
Sweet. Thanks. And last but certainly not least, we have Vertigo Cross.
Hey, I'm Vertigo. I'm the world's luckiest unlucky person. And I'm a variety streamer. I play various games throughout the week. Stella and I flirt with anything and everything we can on Mondays. And then on Wednesdays is just the Brothers Grimm Game of Thrones edition.
Yeah. I'm Stella Luna. If you are new to the channel, please consider giving us a follow. That way you get notifications for when we go live. If you are interested in joining any of our TTRPGs, we do have a community for that. We're always looking for new players to come hang out with us and roll some dice, kill some monsters, avoid, trying to die to a rage troll in a dark forest, that kind of thing. We do marathons quite regularly now, and we are always looking for people to fill out our one-shots. So I would heavily recommend hop into the Discord, get in on one of the games. Let's play some D&D or other TTRPGs together. I will be back here this weekend. We are going to be doing a Golf with Your Friends tournament, and that is going to be on Saturday. Where's my schedule? Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Kevin, are you going to be there?
At what time?
7 p.m.?
So I work that overnight. But
So-
we should be done by 11, right?
Yeah. It's only like...
Then I'll be there.
Okay, so Kevin will be there to defend his title as Master Stroker. Whoever wins the championship gets the bragging rights of being the Master Stroker of the Corgi Club.
Is he the 2-time reigning stroker?
He is
I thought
the
it was
2-time...
3.
Nos.
No, Dark Nexus won one.
Yeah.
Or it was Q. It was either Nexus or...
I think it was Q.
Yeah.
2 on the first one. and
So
I've
you
won
better be there. Defend your
previous ones.
title. Come challenge Kevin. Are you a better stroker than Kevin?
Can you beat the champion at stroking?
Well, I appreciate everyone for hanging out with us here today, and hope to see you here next time, 9 p.m. Wednesday, for more Symbaroum. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.